Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Taruna Joshi from Ramdas College. Today we are going to talk on the module Curriculum Development in Information Literacy from the paper Library Use and User Studies. According to the Association of College and Research Libraries, that is ACRL, Information Literacy Competency Standards for Higher Education are gaining skills in information literacy multiplies the opportunities for students self-directed learning as they become engaged in using a wide variety of information resources to expand their knowledge, ask informed questions and sharpen their critical thinking. Thus, we can say information literacy provides a foundation for lifelong learning, which is the ultimate goal of education, and it is also common to all the disciplines, learning environments and levels of education. An information literacy curriculum could be developed based on the information literacy standards, performance indicators and outcomes as mentioned in the ACRL's Information Literacy Competency Standards for Higher Education. After reading this module, you will be able to do the following. Number 1, to recognize the development of information literacy curriculum pedagogy. Number 2, to find the instruction and delivery of information literacy curriculum. Number 3, to identify the contents of an effective information literacy curriculum. Number 4, to identify the way to improve the quality of information literacy contents. Number 5, to recognize the structure of organization of information literacy contents. And last, to recognize the best way to impart information literacy curriculum. There are two different ways of imparting information literacy training to the students. One is the standalone module, wherein it is a sort of one solution for all the disciplines. The second being the information literacy training, which is embedded in the curriculum. The faculty members consider it the ideal situation when the information literacy programs are embedded in the curriculum, and they use a wide range of information resources in problem solving strategies, which makes effective use of different technologies to teach information literacy, which include finding, evaluating and using information, and it emphasizes the ethical and legal issues connected to information. It is built on a needs assessment which evaluates the current state of students' competence in information skills, as well as an ongoing assessment of students' achievement of the skills that makes them information competent. Now we will study the different models of information literacy training. In the past, the students were usually taught information literacy skills using the traditional instructive approach, which involved the teacher lecturing and the students passively receiving the information. However, with the emergence of new pedagogical methods, it has influenced how teachers and librarians are imparting these skills to the students. Students are required to take a credit course on information literacy, which provides a base of knowledge and skills. Students may then be given formal learning opportunities in other courses that reinforce skills and concepts learned in the information literacy course. These additional learning opportunities are also important for learning the specific resources of a given discipline. There are many models of information literacy, such as the integrated curriculum or general education model, web-based online tutorials, demonstration of information literacy mastery model, and information literacy model for developing countries. Now we will discuss all these models in detail. Now we will discuss the first model, which is the integrated curriculum or general education model. Integrating information literacy into the curriculum is about building skills for independent and lifelong learning in a systematic way throughout a student's career. Integrating information literacy across the curriculum is considered the best model. Ferrer, Winant and Carello assessed about 200 students in advanced biology courses at a college in Colorado and assessed their proficiency at using the different library resources. They found that those who took the discipline-specific library instruction were more confident in their library skills, had a more scholarly approach towards biology library research. They made better library database choices and were better able to meet the expectations of their professors. In this model, each discipline on the campus develops an information literacy component. For example, the psychology department would require students majoring in psychology to take an information literacy class that would highlight information literacy theory and its concepts using psychological topics. During this time, the students would study location and access, Big Six Stage 3, and the librarian and the professor may present the various psychological databases available and journal titles that are accessible through the library. Working closely together, the professor and the librarian identify specific assignments and activities that represent the outcomes and learning objectives for both the discipline and the ACRL standards. Again, these are tied together through the use of the Big Six. Another issue to consider when embedding information skills into the curriculum is that of assessments. The teaching and assessment activities have to be constructively aligned to the stated learning objectives. Matching them in this way, which will help to make the learning and assessment process more meaningful. In this method, the librarian and the faculty members collaborate to plan, develop and deliver the information literacy module. Thus, the responsibility is shared by the librarian and the faculty members equally. Now we will discuss the second model, which is the web-based online tutorials. The web-based online tutorials are a team-based collaborative effort. The core development team consists of a project manager, the librarian, faculty member, and the multimedia specialist. For most of the web models, the librarians are solely responsible for the content development and the multimedia staff for the creation of the web pages. For example, an online tutorial for SciFinder for undergraduate and postgraduate students was created by a team consisting of the science professor at Rider University using Adobe Captivate 4 software. The online tutorial for SciFinder was designed to teach students how to search for relevant scholarly articles and how to retrieve these articles from the university library's database or from the nearby institutions. A course management system could also be used for this purpose. For example, an online tutorial was prepared for the World Civilizations course at the University at Buffalo. The tutorial included a quiz for self-assessment and opportunities for active learning and also individual email feedback between the students and the librarians. The feedback to the tutorial helped in improving the tutorial. Similarly, at the University of Texas, a tutorial by the name of Information Excavation was developed, which was divided into 3 parts. The first part covered searching the internet to find information. The focus was upon finding the information which is freely available on the internet. Part 2 covered use of the resources of the University of Texas libraries. The users found information on finding books in the libraries, also journal articles and conference papers, and also using the full text online resources. The last portion provided some tips and suggestions for locating resources found to be helpful for engineering students. Topics covered including finding industry standards, patents, finding specific data, and the nature of proprietary information. Now we will discuss the third model, which is the demonstration of information literacy mastery model. If the students are just required to attend the information literacy program without any type of assessment at the end of the program, the students take it casually. But credit-based information literacy programs are attended much more seriously by the students. Thus, many nurses who return to the college to pursue a degree and exhibit the skills they have learned during their years of employment as nurses are given credit for those skills and are then placed in the appropriate course in the degree program. Now the last and the final model, which is the information literacy models required for developing countries. The Empowering Aid problem solving model was developed to suit the local needs of South and South Asian countries. The components and learning outcomes of this model include the ability to access, first to identify, then explore, select, organize, create, present, access, and apply information to the local needs. Now, one might argue that when so many information literacy models are already available, then what is the need to develop an information literacy model separately for the developing countries? But it is essential to develop a separate information literacy model for the developing countries because of the composite culture and local conditions in developing countries. If an existing model used in a developed country is imposed on the developing countries, it becomes difficult for the stakeholders to understand the philosophical roots behind the model. Information literacy curriculum pedagogy includes learning theories, both cognitive and constructivist, and socio-cultural constructivist approach to learning. The learning theories are vital for information literacy and are employed widely in information literacy classes. Learning theories could be used to design, deliver, and improve information literacy instruction. Assessment learning theory could be used to integrate assessment with information literacy instruction as assessment is inseparable from teaching. Information literacy training curriculum. The most effective information program is the one which is embedded in the curriculum. Secondly, it uses a wide range of information resources in problem solving strategies. Next, it makes effective use of different technologies to teach information literacy. It also includes finding, evaluating, and using information, and it emphasizes the ethical and legal issues connected to the information. And the last, it is based on a needs assessment. A number of assignments or projects could be employed to integrate information literacy with the curriculum. Such assignments or projects could include the following. Number one, overview of the literature of a discipline. Number two, Tools and techniques required to search the literature of a discipline effectively. Number 3, indexing in a specific discipline. Number 4, analysis and evaluation of the literature of a discipline. And number 5, presentation of the research results. Overview of the literature of a discipline. First, compare and evaluate reference sources. Look up a topic in a few different subject encyclopedias, dictionaries, etc., and compare how the topic is covered. In this way, the students get to learn how reference sources are created, how and when to use these, criteria for evaluating these, and their limitations. Second, write an encyclopedia article on a topic. Define the topic and its scope. What are current issues and questions? Who are current prominent scholars or researchers? How is work disseminated and accessed? And a brief bibliography of important recent literature. Third, identify and compare major subject journals. Introduce students to the role of journals in the field and see how journals can differ in approach and perspective. Number 4, review a major subject journal. Trace how a journal changes over the time, who has published in it, what topics are covered, and how they are covered. Fifth, review a subject index, yearbook, or other periodic reference source. Note how trends in topics are studied and the ways they are studied evolve over time. Tools and techniques required to search the literature of a discipline effectively. Number 1, keep a research log. It involves recording sources consulted and why, keywords and subjects searched, results of searches, how searches were modified based on results, results of a modified searches, etc. This gets students to think about the choices they make as researchers. Number 2, search in a specific index or database, compile bibliography, keep a research log. It is useful for more sophisticated databases. Use thesaurus to find appropriate subject headings for a topic. Search history function to modify or combine results of previous searches. Boolean strategies for complex searches and other advanced features and how they help. Number 3, search the internet, annotated bibliography of the resources, research log, using the internet for scholarly research, how to find and evaluate sites, how to determine the reliability of internet resources, what you can and cannot find on the internet, and the last, compare results from different sources. Search in and then compare results from two academic indexes. Example, how do different disciplines approach the same topic? Different search engines or subject directories on the internet or free resources on the web versus subscription sources via the library. It shows the importance of selecting appropriate research tools. Indexing in a specific discipline. Number 1, track an author or a particular article or book through a citation index. Now, how to use citation indexes? What does it mean to be cited? See the interconnectedness of the scholarly network. See how topics evolve. Number 2, trace a scholar's career. Use biographical and bibliographical tools. See how that individual fits in the scholarly network and how the scholar's work has been evaluated by others. Number 3, create a bibliography of a scholar's publications. It requires a thorough search of all the appropriate bibliographical tools to do a complete bibliography. analysis and evaluation of the literature of a discipline. Number 1. Write an annotated bibliography of a topic. It involves selecting and using appropriate indexes, briefly summarizing and accurately evaluating sources, properly citing sources. Number 2. Write a literature review. It involves using indexes, learning about literature reviews, see how a topic evolves and how to trace its evolution. Number 3. Create an anthology of readings for a topic or class. Select articles, essays, book chapters, websites, etc. Useful for students learning the topic. Write an introduction summarizing the subject. Describe each item included in the anthology, explaining why it is included. Add a supposition that you may not get copyright permission to include some of your selections. Select some alternative readings. Explain why they are alternates but not on the primary list. Number 4. Compare several reviews of a book. Find academic book reviews. See critical responses to scholarly work. Number 5. Write a book review. Read academic book reviews. Learn their purpose and know how to analyze a book. Number 6. Compare an academic or scholarly article with a non-academic article on the same topic. How to distinguish between different types of publications, peer review and academic publishing process. Compare typical characteristics of the different types of publications. Next, read a paper's references. Find articles cited in a paper's bibliography. Critique how and why the author used them. Next, find primary sources. Compare these with secondary sources on the topic. Understand the difference between primary and secondary sources. Learn what constitutes a primary source for a specific discipline or project. Search tools and strategies for finding the primary sources. Last, find newspaper and magazine articles reporting on scholarly research and the research being reported. Critique how the scholarly findings are reported in the popular press. Presentation of the research results. Number 1. Public presentations of research results. Rather than or in addition to a paper, let the students present the results of their research in a website, PowerPoint presentation, poster session, etc. Alternate ways of organizing and presenting results. Compare the advantages and limitations of different types of presentations. For example, poster sessions or slide presentations force succinctness. Web pages allow for multimedia and non-linearity, etc. Number 2. Write a research proposal. Do a literature search and review. Evaluate the current state of knowledge in the topic. Write a specific proposal for an extensive research project to extend the current state of knowledge. Number 3. Write a grant proposal to a specific funding agency. Find appropriate agency for project. Include purpose, objectives, procedures, etc. along with the literature review, budget, etc. Divide the class into groups. Each group reviews a set of proposals by others in the class. Number 4. Write an exam for the class. Explain why you posed each question and write or at least outline what you think would be a good answer. Number 5. Write a newspaper article reporting the results of scholarly research for a general audience. Structure or organization of information literacy contents. A number of information literacy standards are available which help to structure or organize the contents of an information literacy instruction program. One such model has been developed by Association of College and Research Libraries, which could be used for all the disciplines in higher education. It includes 5 standards which are further followed by their performance indicators and expected outcomes. Instruction and delivery of information literacy. There are various models for instruction and delivery of information literacy. These include Information Literacy Curricular Design Model, 7 Pillars Model, Information Literacy Instruction Model, Information Literacy Model with Indian Perspectives, etc. In the knowledge society, it is almost impossible to predetermine the information needs of the learners. Thus, to get best results from an information literacy program, the information literacy instruction requires integration with the existing curriculum of its learners. In a model for the Indian learners, it was suggested to include 3 key questions for designing information literacy instructional model: what should be taught, when and where to instruct, and who should be the instructor. The most popular method is the collaboration model. In the collaboration method, both the librarian and the academic staff work for the information literacy program. Improvement in quality of information literacy content. The institutions constitute committee consisting of library staff members and academic staffs which are responsible to suggest measures for the quality of information literacy content in order to retain its relevance for the learners. Existing curricula. A large number of information literacy curricula have been developed. For example, Purdue University's library developed information literacy instruction in 1995. University of Cambridge has developed a new curricula for information literacy in 2011, etc. So students, let's summarize what we have learned from this module. Information literacy is a set of critical skills required for the information age. Information literacy training is developed based on any of the information literacy models, and it could be imparted as a standalone version or embedded in the curriculum. The curriculum is imparted through a set of assignments and projects.